We're gonna hit record and get started here in just a moment.
I'm going to take a moment and share that on my feed on Facebook as well. So I'll be right back.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, well, it is 5:31 and so happy that we had so many people join our pre-movie watch party Zoom, and so many people get to experience this incredible movie, and I'm just so honored, and I'm feeling so excited that we have Rebecca Tickell with us. She's going to be sharing with us in just a moment. Look at all the comments coming in. Loved it. Woohoo. Life-changing information. I feel the exact same way. Life-changing, inspirational, moving information was presented in the movie. So, so excited to get to talk to you, Rebecca. Let me hit record. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to our Kiss the Ground post watch party. So we came together a couple hours ago. We had a pre-watch Zoom. Everybody went off and streamed Kiss the Ground, the movie, independently on Netflix or Vimeo or their streamer of choice. And now we are coming back together for a very special event, a very special event. And so before we get to the director, the producer of this incredible movie that we just all watched, that literally gave us life-changing information. It was the first time, these comments over here, is the first time that I'd watched it. It was amazing to watch. Such a good movie. We are so thankful, super informative and inspirational. Proud of us for making a difference. These are the comments coming in. So if you felt moved by watching Kiss the Ground, please drop a comment so Rebecca, who is the producer and director of this incredible film and another film that we're going to be talking about, can feel the love as well from our Purium community. So my name is Amy Venner. I'm one of the owners and founders here at Purium, and I want to turn it over to my business partner, my friend for over 30 years. Cannot even believe that. We've been working together on the same vision, passion, and purpose. So Dave Sandoval, I'm going to turn it over to you. What did you think about the movie Kiss the Ground?
Well, I, like everyone, was so moved and excited by it. I hope you can hear me. Thumbs up if I'm coming through.
Yes.
Awesome. I just want to just give a very short recap of how powerful this type of media could be. When I was a young man, I read the book by Rachel Carson called Silent Spring, and it motivated me, where I dedicated my life to creating chemical-free food and offering it to people and to educating people and to fighting for USDA organics. And this is something that we accomplished. And a few years back, I saw a movie called Ina, and I was made aware of, in a big way, about the problem of glyphosate. And we worked very hard to, to fight against that. And we developed a product, and we invested our money and our time, and we now have the only clinically proven solution to glyphosate. And again, we went into action as a company. And then I saw a movie, I can't remember the name, it might have been Poison Planet, but I saw a movie about the problem with microplastics in our oceans and our environment. And I'll remember the name of that movie. And that motivated me to take our company plastic free. And now we've saved literally dozens, hundreds of tons of plastic from going into the environment. And, with this film, it motivated me once again to rededicate myself to these causes, and I'm so proud of Rebecca and Josh and her entire team, for what they've done and the way that they've put themselves out there. If you saw one of the quotes, it said, apparently these two are going to keep beating the drum until somebody starts to hear it. And so Amy and I have been beating that drum into a silent forest for so long, it seemed. And then we created Purium, and we found, partners in that voice. And we're raising our voices together. But even with that, we are just a tiny, tiny, sound in the din. And then we saw this movie and we felt such alignment. And we were so proud of the fact that there were people out there fighting this fight, doing these things that are so important to us as well. So I'm proud to be aligned. I want to turn it back over to Amy and introduce our amazing guest. And I'm going to allow Amy to take her through a series of questions, and I'll raise my hand if I have a comment or cough or something to let you know. But other than that, I want to turn this over to Rebecca and Amy and become a spectator a little bit like you guys.
Well, amazing. I want to get you unmuted, first of all, Rebecca, but I just want to say what an honor, what a blessing it is that you are graciously joining us here in our Purium community today. And I hope you can see by the comments coming in the chat how overwhelmed our community is by watching the movie and the work that you are doing. So thank you for being here. What an honor. And let's jump right in if that's okay.
Let's do it. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Well, tell us what motivated you to become a movie maker in the first place, because this movie is so beautiful and does such a great job telling a story with emotion. So what motivated you to get into this career field?
I started making films when I was 8 years old. I was in a Christmas movie called Prancer when I was 8. So I was the leading role in this film with Sam Elliott, and it's a Christmas classic. I think Roger Ebert said I delivered one of the best childhood performances ever captured on film. And now I'm bragging about myself. But the reason I'm sharing this is because at 8, I realized that films have the power to change the world. I saw the power of a 90-minute setting, watching something on the big screen or on the small screen, what that could do to somebody's heart, how it could just open them up. I used to have these old men coming up to me and they'd break down in tears telling me how I had totally moved them. And so when I came out to Hollywood, I ended up doing a bunch of horror movies. And I realized when I was starring in a Clive Barker horror movie and giving birth to a giant squid-like baby on the basement floor of a monastery as a succubus, that it was time for a career change, that I was not going to touch people's hearts the way that I wanted to, making films like that. And shortly after that, I met my husband, Josh Tickell. I had seen him on the Today Show when I was 17, driving the veggie van across the country. He had grown up in Cancer Alley in Louisiana. He'd watched members of his family get sick from the pollution there. And he played a pivotal role in helping to jumpstart the biodiesel movement back in the 90s. He wrote a book that taught people how to make biodiesel. That ended up in Woody Harrelson's hands and Willie Nelson's hands. And, he saw the power at a very early age as well that films and powerful storytelling can have in terms of creating structural change and in creating a movement. So fast forward, there I am ready for a career change. And who do I run into doing volunteer work? Josh. And it was love at first sight for us. And very shortly after that, we got engaged. We fell in love. Then we got engaged. We moved in together and we started working on our first film back in 2008. That was called Fuel. And we won the Sundance Audience Award with that film. And I remember watching An Inconvenient Truth in 2006. And I just remember being so floored. And I also remember feeling sort of a sense of desperation that we had blown it and that there was no hope. And so fast forward many years later, Josh and I have been making these films about the environment, about oil, about climate change. And we're getting ready to move to Ojai, which is where we live now. And Josh is inside with a full house of kids that he's watching right now. And we've been working all day on our next film about bees. And our friends started talking about soil. And we thought to ourselves, oh gosh, the only thing harder and or worse or dull than making films about oil would
Oil
be
is
making films about soil. And then I started to learn about the power of biosequestration. And we discovered, when we didn't discover it, I mean, indigenous people have known this for a long time, but when it comes to climate, the power the soil has to draw down that carbon and to stabilize the climate. And when we realized that, we knew that this was our life's purpose and that everything that we had done had led us to this message. And there was nothing more important that we could do with our life than to devote it to taking this message and putting it out to the world. And so that's what we did. We set out to make Kiss the Ground, and it was a 7-year journey.
wow.
And we learned so much along the way. And I mean, we're still seeing the impacts of the film as it came out. It was shown to every single member of the USDA, which is funny because back in our earlier days, we kept, we tried to get into the USDA. That we couldn't even break into the USDA, and then suddenly they invited us in and they showed it to everyone, and they said that it led to them committing $20 billion to soil health.
Wow.
So that's the power of storytelling. It really can change the world. It really can touch people's hearts. And we have a window of time right now where we can alter the course that we're on and regenerate our planet, heal our bodies, save our soil, fix our food so it's nutrient dense. I mean, the list of benefits from regeneration goes on and on.
Wow. That just gave me chills. Hearing you talk about that and hearing you talk about the perseverance. I had no idea that you worked on the project for 7 years. So what was the driver in that? I'm sure there was many times you thought this is not going to come to fruition. What kept you pushing forward?
I think, I became a mom. I had 2 children while we were making Kiss the Ground. Josh and I had 2 children. I mean, I gave birth to them. And I think it was realizing that the end of their life was going to be determined by what we do today. And knowing that I wouldn't, hopefully, if all went well, I wouldn't be there for that. And so I felt this just relentless commitment. And also, like, it was a lot of pressure. Like, here we have this storytelling tool. We know that we can reach, we had reached millions of people before, but with Kiss the Ground, we reached billions of people. We know we reached over 1 billion people with the film.
Wow.
So the pressure that we felt that we had to get this message of regeneration out there, looking around, seeing the way that in California farming is done, looking around the US, seeing the way that farming is done, looking around the world and seeing what was happening and how we were rapidly desertifying our land. We knew that we had to do it well. We had to take this message and we had to do it well. And I mean, it was crazy after the film came out. We even had Prince Charles reach out to us and invite us. He said it was his favorite movie and that they used that in the UK to put certain legislation in place. So, we knew that if we could get it right, that it could be a catalyst to help us course correct.
I love that. A catalyst for course correction. That's awesome. So if there was one action that you want people, one concept, one action that you want people to take away after viewing the movie, something that they could put into practice, what would that be?
We vote with our fork every single day. We're either voting for a world where we're desertifying the planet, we're degenerating our soil, we're degenerating our bodies, or we're voting for a world where we're drawing down carbon, we're stabilizing the climate, we're helping farmers who are really out there being bold right now, stepping outside of our broken food system and doing something new and doing it for all of us. I mean, farmers pay the biggest price, really, for the way that we've been doing conventional agriculture. So really, it's like we need to support the farmers who are doing it the correct way. We need to seek them out by going to farmers markets. We can also participate by being our own farmer, whether you live in an apartment building or whether you live in a small, you have a small backyard, you can have a garden, you can grow things, in that medium between your house and the street, that little piece of land, but just we can have food forests everywhere. Wherever we live, we can also grow food, whether it's in a window box or whether it's in our backyard. It's really about connecting with our communities and finding ways to grow nutrient-dense, regenerative, organic food and eating that and supporting the people who are doing it.
I love that. I love that. After rewatching the film, I have a small little thing, a little flower bed that I've got a re-landscape as a project. And I was like, I'm putting food in there and not just plants. I'm going to put food in there. So that was my new inspiration after watching the movie this time. So let's shift to the new movie that is just coming out called Common Ground. And I know that there's a lot of emphasis on the chemicals that are being used. I have a very personal connection. We won't go totally into it tonight, but my uncle was a farmer, farmed his entire life in Texas. He mainly grew cotton, wheat, maize, and he died a very early death because he every season, multiple times, sprayed glyphosate in an open air tractor, sprayed Roundup on his crops. When you don't know, you don't know. And so I'm so happy that the world is starting to know. So tell us what motivated you and Josh to make what appears to be a sequel to Kiss the Ground. Almost, what motivated you to make the film Common Ground?
I feel like Kiss the Ground did a great job at sort of introducing the concept of regenerative agriculture. Common Ground goes into deep detail about how we can transform the system. We look at chemicals. We don't really touch too deeply on it. We kind of in Kiss the Ground talk about how they were started through chemical warfare, and then how we decided to take those chemicals that we were using to kill people and to put that on the food that we eat every day. And so we go really deep into why farmers are stuck as basically debt serfs to make a profit for these chemical companies that are killing them and all of us. And the truth was very surprising. I guess maybe not when you follow the money, we really go deep into how they've corrupted our regulatory agencies at the EPA and the USDA, how they've gone back to these land grant universities and basically skewed the science and indoctrinated people to believe that this is the only way that we can feed the world. And we really dismantle that belief, and we show how farmers are paying the ultimate price, and how farmers are 5 times more likely to commit suicide because they're only receiving back 8 cents per dollar of what they're growing. They're locked into these bank loans that force them to continue to spray. And basically they are going to grow a crop, whether it's harvested or not, and they're still going to get a subsidy from the government. And we're all paying for that. That's the way our food system is built. So we really look at that, but then we look at how each one of us can play a role in regeneration, and we tell the stories of all of the farmers and why they made that transition, and how, I saw a question here, like, how do you ask a farmer how they're growing their food, and how do you talk to a farmer? And this film really shows people how they can get to know their farmers, their local farmers, and how they can become a farmer, and how to have those conversations. And I mean, you just need to talk to answer that question. You just need to talk to your farmers and ask them, are you using regenerative practices? Are you using organic? A lot of farmers that are organic, they do still use certain types of organic pesticides and herbicides, but it's way better than the synthetic ones that most of them have to spray. Are they producing only one type of food? Do they have biodiversity in their farm? I mean, you can often tell, like, if they only have oranges, odds are they're not regenerative. If they have a stand that has a whole plethora of different things, including, beneficial flowers for insects like marigolds, and if they have herbs, and, you can find out just by seeing whether they're using those principles of regeneration by looking at what they're growing. That's another way that you can tell. And then also supporting them. It's really important that we get those foods not only onto our kitchen tables, but into our schools, into our businesses. They're really, a lot of these regenerative farmers, even though as they transition, over 80% of them are seeing a profit within the first year, it's still a huge risk that they're taking to farm this way. And we have to do everything we possibly can to support them. And Common Ground, it's a love letter to our kids. It's got some incredible narrators. It's got Jason Momoa, Woody Harrelson again. He makes a comeback and he's really funny. He goes to DC, which is hilarious. And then it has Laura Dern and Rosario Dawson and Donald Glover. And they're all reading the narration of the film to their children. It's a love letter to our future generations. It's an admission that we've messed it up. And the good news that there's a solution. And then it's a promise that we're going to fight like hell to course correct and save the future.
Wow, I love that. I got chills again. Well, that's incredible. And so tell us, like, how can the Purium community support Common Ground? Like, can we go to premieres? Can we arrange for showings in theaters in our hometowns? Like, what and where would the next showing be?
Yes. I mean, I personally, people have told us that Common Ground, it surpasses Kiss the Ground by a long shot. And I couldn't agree more. I love Kiss the Ground. It helped to put regeneration into the mainstream, but Common Ground really is like this emotional roller coaster. And at the end, you walk out of it with so much hope and such a clear call to action of how to participate. You can go to commongroundfilm.org and you can look at this list of screenings that are happening there. If you don't see your city on there, you can request a screening and we can help you to open it in your city into a theater in your city. Next spring, it will be on streaming, so you'll be able to watch it on all the various streaming platforms. But here in California, actually next weekend on the 10th, Friday the 10th, Josh and I will be in Beverly Hills at the Red Nation Film Festival. And those tickets are still available. It's a beautiful theater, the Fine Arts Theater. And then next Saturday night, 11/11, we'll be here in our hometown of Ojai, and we'll be at that premiere with our community here. And you know, I have to say, Ojai in Ventura County, where we live, it's the epitome of bad agriculture. And the more chemicals are sprayed here than any other place in the United States, in a small, tight little area next to schools, next to houses. It's just all interspersed. So I've had to learn how to have these conversations with my neighbors after we had colony collapse, after we got sprayed, how to invite a farmer to look at a different path. And so that has been like a real education for us. And that's what ended up in the film. Oh, another thing that's in Common Ground that I want to share with you is we don't really touch so much on Indigenous practices in Kiss the Ground. And we don't really show the diversity of farmers that, this doesn't reflect the diversity and the biodiversity that we're committed to. In Common Ground, we really took a step back and we go back and we retell the history of agriculture that's very different from what we learned in schools. And I'm really proud of Common Ground for all of the different voices that are represented in the film. And I think people will have, their eyes opened and their heart opened when they watch it.
Wow. Dave, here, let me see if I can pin you here.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Well, Rebecca, I have to say that you speak so eloquently on subjects that are so important. Thank you. I know everyone appreciates you beyond, words. And I was blessed to sit next to Josh at the premiere in Santa Monica and to be able to field questions from the audience afterwards. And that was a highly, highly motivated group of people. They would have literally grabbed protest signs and marched on Washington as they left the theater, So congratulations. Kiss the Ground was wonderful. Common Ground was fantastic. I mean, just like hard to explain how powerful it was. And I just want to thank you for including Indigenous peoples. I went to Standing Rock for several weeks, and stood there with with our Indigenous, brothers and First Peoples, First Nations. And I understand that you filmed a lot of incredible footage from there as well. So thank you for all the work you've done for so long, and congratulations on your ability to navigate Hollywood in a way that has become quite meaningful and purposeful. And in no way what most people think about as someone with a Hollywood, lifetime Hollywood career. So, I just want to say to everybody listening, find your way to that Hollywood premiere, make those seats get full. We're going to continue to publish when premieres are, near enough and close enough to areas that we could get people motivated to from the Purium family. So, Amy, I'm going to throw it back to you, but I just want to say to everybody who's listening, when you see these issues that are addressed in these films, know that you can be a big part of the solution by the decisions you make every single day. And the average American has 20 tons of CO2 pollution attributed to them. And there's ways that you could learn to reduce that. The average in the world is 4 tons, and Americans have 20 tons. And our goal is to reduce that by 75% as quickly as we possibly can. So thank you for showing us the way, Rebecca, and we look forward to spending more time with you, hopefully in the future.
I'm also on this journey with you. I'm learning as I go. One other selfish motivation I have is that my family, I can trace farming back in my family to the 1700s in the Midwest. And my aunts and my uncles have had cancer, Parkinson's disease, all of the neurological farmers' diseases. And, they've suffered from that. My dad used to stand up in vats of DDT and 2,4-D when he was 12 years old out there in the farm. And, it's time that we have to stop. We have to just think about our families, think about the farmers, think about what we're putting in our body, because our future depends on it. Our kids depend on it. I mean, the opportunity and the resiliency and the beauty and the what's around the corner when we start to make these changes, it's night and day. So I really do invite you all to join us in the theater. Spread the word to your friends. Every single ticket that is sold to the film is a vote for a generation. Theaters around the country are watching these screenings, and we're selling out screenings, and it's really sending a message that people care about soil. Dirt's not dull like we thought. It turns out that the key to life and the key to our survival and resiliency and the ability for us to thrive is in our connection to that soil. And by showing up at the theater, that's a way that we can all show that that's what we want.
I love
Amazing.
that. Well,
I
I
want
will
to
be
say
there
one
on
more
Friday
thing.
night.
real quick. I've never met Prince Charles or King Charles, but I met Uncle Charles. Okay. And I've got to tell you, this is one sweet man. I mean, this guy was amazing. He was a large man. He had to be 400 pounds, He was a big Southern boy. And to see him die the way he died was horrible. He would drink a gallon of milk a day just trying to coat his stomach, and it was bad, So thank you for what you do for everybody's Uncle Charles, because there's a lot of them out there.
Well, you know what? My dad you're welcome. And it's selfishly, I'm doing it for my own family too. We're all in this together. We're all seeing the impacts of this and experiencing the impacts of this. My dad, you can imagine the conversations that would happen between us and my dad when I told him that we were going to make movies about farming. He's like, what do you know about farming? You don't know anything. And he never did actually say, you're right, or like, I'm going to do that. But what he did do was he started sending me photo after photo after photo of the regenerative organic food that he's now growing. So I think, sometimes it's hard to get through to people by, arguing with them. But I think if you can touch their heart, and I know that Kiss the Ground movie and now Common Ground the movie, which he's in, you'll see him in that film. People want to do the right thing. I think farmers really do care about the kind of food that they're growing. They care about the soil, they care about the land. So it's just about giving them that information, and the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. And I think that farmers are inch by inch and acre by acre starting to make the transition, and we just have to get this message to them.
Yes. Well, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being on with us tonight and sharing your passion and your wisdom and your knowledge. And it is contagious. The film moves your heart, and it makes you want to get up and do something. And so what we have to offer here at Purium is plant-based solutions. Our food supports sustainable and regenerative farming practices, organic, chemical-free farming for over 30 years. Has been the path that Dave Sandoval and I have been on. And we have the only product that has been certified by the Detox group as a glyphosate solution. And so
Project.
the Detox Project,
I
yes.
love them. They are so amazing. In fact, I've partnered with them to test 800 people here in Ojai for pesticide exposure. And I use them at our local school to try to get, 80% of over 80% of glyphosate exposure comes through grains, legumes, and oats. And so if we
When
can
you're ready to detox them, let us know, because we have that.
Hey, well, thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you all for the work that you're doing. Clearly, you get it. It is so great to see all of your faces. I love seeing the kids running around the background, and I see all of your waves and I see you and I love you, and we're all in this together. And I'm so grateful that you guys showed up here tonight, and then I get to be in this conversation with you, and for the work that you're doing to give people access to this healing food. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you, Rebecca. Thank you to Josh, your husband, your family, the years that you have put into this, because perseverance, when you're passionate about something, you persevere over obstacles to get this message out there. And thank you so much for doing that.
I'm just absolutely delighted and honored to be here with you. Thank you so, so much, Amy. And thank you, David, for organizing this. I really appreciate it.
I love the way Josh loves you and supports you and your visions. And it is amazing. The two of you are such a beautiful example of that partnership. It's just beautiful. Thank you again. It's a pleasure to know you.
Honor to know you all. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
Yes.
And I want to give you a hug on Friday night. So
Okay, well, I'll see you on Friday. I'll see you on Saturday. I'll be at so many of these screenings on that list. I really look forward to seeing you all there if you can make it.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you so much, our Purium family, for joining us for an incredible day, the pre-event, streaming this beautiful, moving, emotional movie, and then coming back and getting to visit with Rebecca, getting to hear Rebecca's heart, and to see someone who has been on a quest and is really, really making change out there in the world. Thank you for being the change makers that you are and being part of this beautiful Purium community. So have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and we will see you soon. Thank you again, Rebecca. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, the entire Purium community. Those who joined individually from their homes, those who hosted parties. Thank you so much for participating in today's event.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
We'll see you next time.
Kiss the ground.
Yes, find that common ground.
We're building a 5-acre food forest right now. I can't wait to show you all.
Awesome. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Good night.